What's going on, everyone? We are officially live. I'm joined with Avery Romer and apparently his dog as well. And of course, the one and only Caleb Roth. So we're just going to hang out today. We're going to do some live Q&A. We also have some questions for Caleb. If you're unfamiliar with who Caleb is, I think a lot of people consider him the grandfather of selling used books on Amazon, especially in the digital age. At least that's what I think. He's gotten, I would say, easily tens of thousands of people interested into selling used books online. Created a couple different softwares, has since exited, technically no longer sells books, but has a ton of expertise in the book space, has a ton of connections, and he's going to be a speaker at Books and Beyond October 10th through 12th in Las Vegas, Nevada. Incredible business acumen, just an awesome human being. I look up to him. So with that said, what's going on, Caleb?
Well, what's up, Joji? Thanks for having me. And I do need to clarify, I do still sell a few books, just not nowhere near what it used to be.
Gotcha. We got Nathan in the house saying hello all. What's up, Nathan? Nathan will be at Books and Beyond, which is great. And of course we have Avery. What's up, man?
Was that Nathan? Which Nathan was that?
Nathan, he was there at Books and Beyond last year as well.
Yeah, I always think he's the scam lister Nathan when I see his picture.
Oh no. Online book arbitrage. Yeah. So he's definitely killing it. Yeah. So Caleb, so you mentioned you're still selling some books now, and I know you try to get even like your stepdaughters into it as well, right? But
I did. They didn't quite catch the book bug. You know, people have to get bitten just hard enough, and then it goes. It's interesting. The bigger your surface area for luck, the more you kind of put out different seeds out there. I had a random stranger call 2 days ago from a business card I gave them like 5 years ago at a book sale in Denver.
Wow.
So anybody from Denver, it was the whale sale. It's kind of one of the bigger sales out there. And
I think they advertise on Book Sale Finder.
They probably do. They're one of the bigger ones out in Colorado. They were one of our consignment clients near the end of our run. But she just reached out. It's this older lady, Bonnie, such a sweetheart. And I have no idea. She's probably in her 70s. She's got a few thousand books looking to offload, and I sent her over to David Chung because I don't run out there and do it anymore. And then my neighbor, I've been trying to bug her for like a year. She found out I sold books. They live in this mansion like just one street over. It's like out in the country. It's beautiful. It's like gated, long driveway. You can't even see the house from the road. And I don't know what her and her husband did or do. I think they're retired. And she's been bugging, I've been bugging her to list books, and she finally called me today and said, come on over. Wow. I'm going to her house tomorrow and going to walk her through the process. So there's still people getting into it. It's interesting just seeing kind of the pieces start to shake loose after a few years.
Yeah. And those are two things that anybody listening can do. Like you passed out a business card, which costs like $50-$100 on Vistaprint. You probably get them cheaper.
Oh, back then it's like $20.
Yeah. You passed it out at a library sale. And that's one thing you can do. And then the other thing was, what else? You said your neighbor. You just talk to your neighbors.
Yeah, just talk to your neighbor. You tell them what you do. And I used to be embarrassed by that. I sell used books, and people go, "Really? That's a thing?" And don't be embarrassed. The more you tell people about it, you don't have to try to be pitching anything. It's not like Joji's walking.
I had the opposite. I thought it was so cool. I thought it was so cool what I was doing. Like I would just brag to everyone like it was cool. I feel like it's kind of your attitude behind it. Yeah.
I think Avery, you have that attitude where you're super proud of it. I would say kind of like Caleb, and maybe even still to this day when people ask me, I'm kind of like, it's weird when how people perceive it, like what you do. But I think you put it well. You had an Instagram reel, Avery, that went off, I think, really well, where you had like a library sale was like, oh, I really hate resellers. And you're like, well, you've ever bought a book online, a used book?
I think I can get that one to go viral. I think I just need to get the original raw file where it's like high quality without the YouTube edit in there. And I feel like that one could go viral somehow. I don't know what the hook's going to be, but
it's a good video. We have the real Clippy saying, howdy guys. We got Steve Rakin in the house. Also,
Steve Rakin's literally about to be in the house in a second. He's on his way over.
Oh, he's on his way over. Nice. And then Junkman saying we have grandpa, uncle, and cousin here. We won't say who's who, but we're one of those three. So.
Am I older than you?
Me?
I'm 30.
Oh, I'm 31. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're the young one still, but
that's a weird. I guess you could be my uncle technically. I could be your uncle too.
Oh, this is Brian from Vegas.
Oh, awesome. Brian. We'll see you in a couple weeks then.
Yeah. Sounds good. That'd be a lot of fun. So, I mean, Caleb's going to be a speaker at Books and Beyond, again, happening October 10th through 12th in Las Vegas, Nevada. One of the things that I think is really cool about Caleb's stories, he's in that transitional period where it's like, he's done a lot of selling books, and has been very successful with that, has kind of moved on. And one thing that I don't really teach a lot or talk about a ton with my content is the whole reason why I sell books on Amazon, which is to try to, or to become financially independent, to diversify outside of books. And so I think Caleb, you offer a cool perspective when when someone gets to meet you in person, which is like, hey, there's more to just book selling, and it's good to diversify outside of it as well. And so I think that would be, a really valuable experience to somebody who comes.
Agreed.
Yep.
Avery, throw that ball over here.
I'll throw my balls at you, Books and Beyond.
Don't do that.
So let's see. So I titled this "Tips for Running a Profitable Book Business in 2025" because, believe it or not, there's still people lining up to go to thrift stores, signing up for the sourcing apps. But I think we've talked about this behind the scenes, all of us, is that, the landscape has changed for sure. So maybe let's start with, what would you say, Caleb, are some like tried and true things that, still are very important today as they were in 2015 or 2016?
Well, I think if anybody has followed my content for any length of time, the biggest thing I preach is probably knowing your numbers. And I don't think that's changed. I think it's especially more true. Every year it seems like the fees go up, the restrictions go up a little bit. It's harder and harder to list. I mean, Avery's got a listing software, so he's kind of in the trenches there. And, FBA is sort of a mess right now and trying to create batches, and, GoToLister is pretty ingenious about finding ways to make it easier and more streamlined, but it just takes longer, which means your time is still valuable, but you can just get less done in the same amount of time, which is kind of the opposite of AI and all these improvements that we have. But knowing your numbers is probably the biggest thing. Buying fewer books. I mean, Joji, you love the 80-20 rule, but figuring out like, hey, the goal is not necessarily to sell 100 books in a week or list 100 books in a week. It's to list 100 of the correct books or the best books you can. So I still source. I still take my kids to garage sales, and we look for all kinds of stuff. But it's hard to get away from books because they're still there. And if I'm only going to make $1 or $2 or $3, I'm not touching the book. And I would say back when I first started, I was pretty excited, and I'd try and list stuff where I'd make 50 cents or 75 cents because the sales rank is a couple thousand. It's almost guaranteed to sell, and you just kind of.
You didn't have $2 removal fees either.
So it's, there weren't fees, there weren't storage fees, there was a lot of things. So definitely raise that up. List fewer books. I just listed a very small batch from a garage sale last week. It was 11 books and estimated profits $260. So these are like, $30, $35 books, $40 books on average. And there's fewer books, but I'm not spending my time listing 10 and 12 and $15 books that are going to, net me $3. Yeah. So that's a big part of it, is just being aware. And then if you're running an FBA business, you got to stay on top of things. You got to find ways to call, limit your inventory. You don't want to be paying for shipping fees. That stuff will sneak up on you and just destroy your business.
Yeah. I'd say the biggest thing is just the average selling price, right? Because obviously it's easy to find books that don't have a lot of value, right? And so it's like, I think people get, like you said, get trapped in, trying to sell books on average that are $12, $13. And yeah, you're going to net a couple of bucks here and there, but like you said, it is much harder with the removal fees, with just the baseline fees that are taken out with, the pick and pack, the FBA fees, or referral fees. It's not, it's quite a bit of money on each book. So I would say, raising your average selling price is really good. So I definitely agree there. But
I would say the second.
Go for it.
Go ahead.
I would say, and I was actually looking today just because I was interested to see when I did my first online book arbitrage flip. So I went into my Amazon account and I went back to 2016. So it was in May of 2016 I bought my first book using eFlip. That was actually my introduction to online book arbitrage. So many people may not even know what eFlip is, but essentially that was one of your softwares, right, that you had created back in the day. And yeah, it's kind of crazy that almost a decade later now, online book arbitrage still works. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's wild. I'd say another key piece to look at is how do you build a business where you have kind of consistent channels. So many people books are kind of fun. It's on the side, or maybe they're starting to take it seriously. but they just feel like they're going and chasing their tail, or just spending a lot of effort and not really getting much to show for it. And so building out specific channels like, hey, I've got this route and I go hit these thrift stores once a month, twice a week, whatever that rhythm might be, that's going to be a pretty good way to kind of set yourself up. And then it's kind of leveling up. So thrifting is probably the easiest way, garage sales, library sales, but anybody's kind of going at those as well. It's pretty inefficient. It's scattered. Then you start to say, hey, what can I do to level up? And maybe it's buy a pallet of books. Maybe it's do, online arbitrage and start to try and get higher dollar books. Steve Rakin's watching this too. He's got a software that you can buy stuff on eBay and flip it. So there's lots of ways to kind of play these games, so to speak. But the more you can kind of build out predictable channels, the better you're going to be.
Yeah. And Avery, what have you been seeing? Because obviously with GoToLister, that's definitely targeted at people who actually have the physical books in their hands, right? They're sourcing locally, right? And there's no doubt it's become more difficult, right? Because a lot of Goodwills and thrift stores are smarter now, probably because of guys like Caleb Roth and learning as time has gone on. But so certainly, you can even film POV videos where you go thrifting, go library sales, and you can still manage to get stuff. So what's the landscape looking like for you?
I think it's still really good. I think the overall sentiment of Amazon's pretty negative from all the account shutdowns and stuff.
Yeah.
Or maybe the novelty is kind of worn off, because if you look up how many people are searching Amazon FBA, it's down over the years. But I still I go to thrift stores and I know how to do this because I lived in my car doing it. I did it for a full year after that. I did liquidations. Me and Caleb did deals together. And most people go in and they scan as slow as a snail. They don't realize which books they should be picking up. They don't realize that 3 million ranked book that it has been out of stock for 3 months is actually the best buy in the store. So they leave it on the shelf because somebody in a Facebook group told them stay under 1 million sales rank. So people just don't know. And you have to go through the learning curve, And so I think there's a few things you can look at, what's the competition like? And I think maybe even the competition's gone down, because any big bulk seller, in my opinion, who's kind of smart, would pull back a little bit from FBA, even though I know a lot of my friends still are heavy FBA, but a lot of people are smashed by it. So theoretically, there should be fewer bulk FBA sellers out there, but us smaller sellers are going to take advantage of FBA because we're not going to do a whole MF operation. We don't have cheap shipping rates. And, when it comes to FBA, it's us versus them. And we have the exact same fees and everything, they have to pay people to process the books. We don't. And with that being said, I don't know if the competition's less or not, but it feels like maybe it is. We need someone like Caleb to do a deep dive on the price books over the years, because I'm curious if the FBA prices have gone up after all the crazy removal fees and stuff. You would think they would a little bit, but I don't know. But it seems like people still buy books. People are still buying physical books, and that doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. So, Mike, the used book guy, just goes out on weekends and pulls in $8,000 a month. It's not like he's working any harder than other people. He's just doing the work, and he's doing it smart, and he knows what he's doing. So I think there's still a ton of opportunity. I think it's boring too. I think people get bored really easily, and they just don't want to do it anymore. They're bored for the first 2 months when they should be honing that skill. They're already you got to enjoy going to a thrift store and being in there for a couple hours, and that's only some of us. And so if this business isn't for you, I feel like that's kind of the purpose of my content is try to find those people that enjoy being in a thrift store, listening to a podcast for a couple hours. And you get those people, I can teach you how to make $200-$300 an hour if you fine tune the skill, if you live in any decent to mid-sized city. But if you hate being in the thrift store, my friends ask me, hey, should I sell on Amazon? And I'm like, bro, I just know you. You don't want to be in a thrift store for 4 hours. That's not you. But then some people, I watch them in the thrift store and their eyes light up, and I'm like, this is for you, and I was one of those people, and I think Caleb was, and if you're willing to grind for a few years doing that, you can really turn your capital fast. There's no other business that allows you to do it that fast. So that's
Caleb, would you still be bullish on the whole thrifting and, picking up books locally? If you're just still thinking about doing it as a side hustle, you think it's still viable?
It's definitely still viable. It just depends on what your goals are and what you're trying to do. And Avery alluded to it. It depends on how big your market is and how many thrift stores you have in your area.
Yeah.
For me, like I'm still selling around $1,000 a month. Some of that's old inventory, like super long tail. It sells once or twice a year, and I've still got a couple hundred books listed. Some of it is just from going to I don't really do thrift stores much, but the kids love garage sales, so I go to those and a few estate sales. And yeah, you can do that. Now, $1,000 a month is probably netting me maybe $500 a month. Couple high dollar books, so
Yeah.
$500 doesn't really move the needle, but still $500, which helps pay for golf or a dinner out or a couple things with friends or whatever. So
Yeah.
I think it's still viable, and I'm doing that very like super part time. I might go to spend 2 mornings a month going and looking at sales or whatnot. It's not a huge amount of effort.
Yeah, I kind of agree with what Avery had said as well, that it almost feels like maybe not that there's less competition, but maybe that the quality of the competition I don't think is as high. Like I think a lot of people don't truly understand, like when they're looking at book A or book B, they have similar metrics and they can't really make a decision about which book is actually the book that they should take. In other words, I think the reason why Caleb, you could be so successful really not spending that much time doing it because you really know what you're looking for. And I think a lot of people don't really know what they're looking for other than if the app says green or red, right? And maybe you have a hard time understanding.
And that's okay. I don't think there's that much to be gleaned from, getting super smart and looking at that. The triggers and the apps are pretty good these days. And, we built one of them, and I don't know how good the default triggers still are, but they're probably still roughly accurate. And it's like, if you're going to find a book that's $50 and has a rank under 1 million, yeah, you should probably buy the book. It's not rocket science. Again, I think most people get into issues when they're listing too many books that are too inexpensive.
Yeah.
And they're listing all these books. They think they're going to, profit $2, $3. And when the market changes a little bit and drops on some of them, now they're making $1. When they have to pay to get 20% of them removed and they're spending $2, $3 a piece on removals, all of a sudden that eats away at a lot of these other fees. And so it's like, trying to build a business that's scraping nickels is going to be a lot more difficult. And you got to be really sharp and on your numbers and on top of your game and clean outs versus like, I'm not even doing FBA anymore. All my stuff's in my basement. I don't have storage fees. I've got 3 bookshelves lined up back to back to back, whatever. And I just got my inventory there. It's not that hard. I ship out, 6 to 10 books a week. It's nothing fancy. And it's cool.
That is cool. I didn't know that you were just doing FBA. It makes sense though. I mean, yeah, it's really not that much. And I think maybe a better way to rephrase what I had said based upon what you said then is that, yeah, I agree that especially I think the biggest trap for sellers in the beginning when they're selling books is that they just send pretty much anything in rather than being kind of more, picky or like filtering through what they're looking at. So, yeah, I mean, you're going to get eaten with fees, right? If you're sending in books that's okay.
At least they're taking action and getting started. The trick then is to actually take a look in the mirror and see what's going on, and then decide to, not just get mad and quit because it's not working, but then to go, okay, cool. I pulled myself up. I took a risk. Now I'm, paying off some of this, and some of it's certainly going to work. And then trying to get a little more efficient and knowledgeable about what you're doing. Yeah.
So, it sounds like you're still selling books, which is great. But at Books and Beyond, you'll be a speaker there, which is awesome. And you're also going to be bringing beacons, which for those who were there at Books and Beyond last year, they know what beacons were. I thought that was really cool sort of just add on to the whole event. So if you wouldn't mind kind of just telling us what is your newest project and kind of why are you excited about beacons being there at Books and Beyond?
Yeah. So these beacons are these smart NFC enabled bracelets. They're handmade out of clay in the Dominican. We hire Haitian refugees. So this is a company that already existed. It's called Mud Love. And they've been in existence for about 15 years. Luke is the founder. We go way back. We used to just talk business ideas back when I was a college kid, and he's just a little older than me. And we've just kind of stayed in orbit as people tend to do. And when I moved back to town, we reconnected, and they had just gotten the idea to basically put an NFC sensor in a bracelet. And so this is the same technology you use with like tapping your phone. So tap to pay. They're kind of trendy now. There's like a company doing this out of China that's like daily Bible verses and inspirational quotes and all kinds of stuff. So Books and Beyond, I believe, was our first real customer last year. And we basically, brought the beacons in pretty cheap and gave the software away. but we used it as a networking tool. So those remember Bill Martinlink and a few others went around trying to get as many connections as they could at the event. It also had the agenda and information about the speakers. So we'll be doing that again this year. It'll be split into teams. So we'll have a little team competition. You can earn points by, giving feedback on some of the talks and kind of having quizzes and whatnot. So it'll be fun. There'll be some just kind of interesting challenges. We use them for attendance. And basically our goal, we're trying to build a business again. And it's fun being back in that first year where everything's new. You're trying to be super curious, get a lot of feedback. And yeah, we definitely stumble all over ourselves and make a bunch of mistakes. And we haven't made a ton of money yet, but we're starting to ramp it up. We're starting to figure out, who we are and who we're serving, more importantly. Yeah. And ultimately, if we can build a predictable business, it allows us to expand our reach there. We've got about 60. It's all women that work for us full time. The group pays for their kids to go to private school, pays for healthcare, pays for counseling services, all kinds of stuff. It's very holistic. And so if we can build the business sustainably and start to grow it a bit, that would allow us to increase that footprint and ramp it up and hire another 30 to 40 women.
Yeah, that's great.
So those are the stakes. It's a little different than, trying to, build a business again just for the sake of supporting the family, although that's certainly, part of the goal as well. But ultimately, we're trying to serve others, and I'm curious to see where it'll take us. Yeah,
it was cool because Beacons were also at Miami Sellers Conference this year as well.
Yep, so we've had them down there, and Avery was kind enough to bring us in, and had a good time there as well.
Yeah, sounds good, man. I mean, Avery, you've had a lot. I mean, for anyone who's not keeping up with Avery's had a lot of life changes as well in the recent past. Yeah. So, congrats to you, a new man coming to Books and Beyond, way different than last year. So you got a house, you got married, and now you have. I'm not gonna say children. Obviously, not children. You have dogs. Closest thing to children you could have, right?
Yeah, so feels like it sometimes.
Yeah. So
2 puppies and a little wiener dog.
Yeah. Sounds good. Okay, so what I want to do is also just go ahead and share my screen a bit here for everyone. So again, if you guys were interested in going to Books and Beyond, again, it's happening in Las Vegas this year, October 10th through 12th. You can watch a video that basically shows what was going on last year. Is again, just a really good time. You can learn more about, where the actual event is happening, which is actually going to be at the Longhorn Room and the Binions Hotel. And we have a bunch of testimonials from people who went last year. A lot of these people are coming again, which is great. We got, actually some pretty notable sponsors this year as well. People especially who follow my channel, you probably buy a lot of books from these companies like World of Books and Thrift Books, maybe even Books Run. So this is honestly my favorite picture here, Avery, which is at the end of the conference, we basically got everyone together, snapped a picture, and it was just...
He's always amazing. I promise you, if you buy tickets, you're not going to regret it. Price is only going to go up, and this event will change your life, especially if you're serious about Amazon. There's no better gift you can give yourself than coming to a conference like this.
Yeah. Cool thing is also a tax write-off as well. So that's also a major benefit. Yeah. So these are all the speakers that are going to be there. And of course, we've got Avery, and we've got a mix of a bunch of different types of booksellers. We also have some people speaking about eBay to Amazon as well. And the cool thing, Avery, is that we've done lives with a lot of these people in the last couple of weeks. So if you haven't seen their lives, definitely, check them out because, again, all these people are really killing in the space. We got Reezy Resells, and then also somebody who I've never interviewed on the channel, but Avery, we got to get Chase on as well. I know you've had him on your channel. I need to get him on my channel as well. What's cool is that Chase is somebody who's younger. I don't know about your demographics for your YouTube channel, Avery, what they are, but for me, I definitely skew older, 40 plus. So it's kind of bizarre to see somebody who's 8. Is he 18 or is he 19?
I think he's 19.
19, yeah, and he's killing it with books. So
for me, Chase is a representation. Number one, we got to be objective. He's in a good area. Which if you're in the Northeast, you're in a good area. But if you're in any medium to large size city, you could probably pull it off. Now, if you're in a small town, maybe you have a gold mine around you. But I think it is important to note that. But number two, he's loaded with testosterone. And he's just he also saw somebody. It wasn't like he just watched a YouTube video and got after it. Devin is another bookseller who was at Miami Sellers Conference and kind of mentored Chase for a while. I think Chase for him. And so Chase had this thing click in his head of this 25-year-old's doing $20,000 a month $30,000 a month selling used books, I can do it too. And that's all it takes sometimes, you know, and back to Books and Beyond. Like, I literally think, and I promote other conferences too, like Sellers United's going on, Amazon Accelerate, go to all of them. I think ours are the best, and I can get into why ours are the best in a second. I think we really control the energy and help you guys connect with each other. But all it takes is that one person to shift your mindset a little bit. And it's not even going to be conscious. It might be unconscious. Like if you're, 29, 30 years old and you're a chemistry teacher and you see Joji doing it, all of a sudden you're like, the fuck am I doing? I can do it too, And I think Chase had, he's in a good area. He had a mentor, and then he just took the basic fundamentals that we all know what to do. Like you'll come to Books and Beyond and you'll hear a bunch of the same stuff we preach on the YouTube channel, and it's just a matter of doing it. And so he took everything. He's going to the thrift stores, he's going to the libraries, and he was pumping out 10K plus sales a month. And I like to look at people like that. I'm like, why are they successful? And I think that's literally why. And so I like to give everyone that opportunity. And that's why I love throwing these in-person events. And, something we really try to do at our events is get you guys to connect with each other as much as possible, find who you jive with. And we're teaching you guys good concepts, we're doing everything, but really like our goal is to break these limiting beliefs. And we're going to do that for you as the weekend goes on. Like it's going to be unconscious, but you're going to talk to people. We're going to strategically do these panels and surround you with people who are, doing much larger sales than you. And at the after party, one of my favorite things to do at these events is sit back. I'm drinking my beer. I like to see Caleb talking to whoever, Rob or Greg Murphy or Joji or somebody in the corner. I like to see two people who I thought were either enemies or they could be friends or they could add value to each other, or seeing like some older woman talk to Chase. I like seeing all this, and I just watch like limiting beliefs in people's brain just disappear. And then everyone's always on a high at the end of the weekend. So Sunday you're going to feel great. Monday you're going to feel great. And the reason why is like you realize what's possible. And now it's up to you to actually take action on it. And usually about 2 weeks after the event, that's when people start to fade back to their norm. But the ones who make it and stick with it are the ones that take action Monday, Tuesday morning, and take what they've learned or relearned, like I was talking about, take the things that they know they should be doing and move forward. And really the people that stick with it, they have friends that are also Amazon sellers. And like I was fortunate enough to have Caleb as a friend. I'm not going to say that didn't affect me. Like that crazily affected how much I thought this could be like a viable path. Like I was literally doing, I don't even think we had Zoom back then, but I was doing virtual calls for graduate school, like getting interviewed for graduate school. And like I showed up at a Starbucks, and then like a month later I meet Caleb and I'm like, I really don't want to go to graduate school. Like not do this, I'm going to do it. And so, it's always the same message, but your network's your net worth. And I really think if you guys are on this YouTube live, obviously you're interested in it. So get your tickets and meet all three of us in person.
Yeah. How many of your connections in the book game, Caleb, would you say come from turn the page events and just from creating content, right?
Oh, it was a lot. And that's, again, you put content out there and people can connect with you. And that was always the coolest thing, is meeting people in real life. And people don't think I'm tall, so that's always interesting. They always think I'm shorter than I am. I'm only 5'6", so no big deal. But
well, so it's also funny because I think I knew you played golf, but I mean, I'm a pretty good golfer relative to the average person. I was like, wow, you're really good at golf, though. That's also another thing. I was like, wow.
It's fun to meet in person and just kind of break some of the stereotypes. And you're going to get way better conversation when you actually can sit down and whether there doesn't have to be alcohol involved. I feel like we're a bunch of alcoholics with, books and bourbon and grab a beer or whatever. But, it's nice to just get a little social lubricant, hang out and sit down. And you start asking about family and like what got you into it. And that's when stuff really opens up. And you're going to pick up a lot of stuff where people tend to be pretty guarded on social media, and then they get in person and the barriers come down, and that's when really the magic happens.
Yeah.
So it's I've met so many great people from conferences, from online, and I'm really blessed that in this industry where we all technically are competitors, we're learning from each other. And my business has grown, my network has grown, And really, it's really ideas and people are going to change your life, and you're going to get
Yep.
both when you go to a conference.
Yeah, going back to what Avery said, what's so unique about being in a place like this is everyone there takes action, right? So in my environment here where I live, like I'm the person that a lot of my friends and people around me like, wow, dude, Joji takes crazy action. Like this guy does a lot. And then it's like I go to Books and Beyond, I'm like, these people here, these people do a lot. And so you get to be in an environment.
In your head, you're like, dude, you do nothing. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
yeah, exactly. So it elevates your like going back to what Avery said, the possibility of what you think you can do, because everyone else out here is just doing things that you're like, wow, people in my normal life are not doing this. And now all of a sudden you have, I would say it's kind of like a family. You have like kind of like a new family, and now you have people to look up to. Now you get asked for advice. And, one thing that I think we don't also talk about, it's just a lot of fun too. For me, selfishly, I like to just get to talk to these guys in person. I like to talk to the people who I make, content for, and people watch my content. It's just a lot of fun to also, be connected with somebody who truly and genuinely enjoys what you do, which doesn't exist in my day-to-day life. When I talk about books to people, people read books? Wait, I thought books are digital. You can sell books? You mean like ebooks, right? It's like so different. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So. And the conversation can only go so deep too. Like I love my friends back home, and they'll always be great friends of mine. But like when we're talking about business or even certain like world issues, it's like we just have a different perspective, and so we can only go so deep in our conversation. And then I jump back to like wrestling or something we can go really deep on. But it's that's the benefit of having entrepreneurial friends, is like you can go like 5 layers deeper in the conversation.
Yep.
And that's what you see at Books and Beyond, is everyone's just nerding out over books. It's like, oh wow, I can talk about this, like things you wouldn't tell your wife or your husband. All of a sudden you're like, okay, like you understand what I'm saying. Like you're getting the head nods that really like, oh, they actually understand. Like it's not my wife just like like they get what I mean by like the sales rank was 3 million and the book sold in a week. Like that's crazy. And then like, the person's like, wow, what?
Yeah, cool.
Christian says flipping books is, I think he meant to say gold. Flipping books is gold. I just realized it last week.
I think he meant to say hard.
No. If you check on the keyboard, G is right next to H. So Christian is somebody who does online book arbitrage as well. And I think textbook season changed his perspective on what's possible. So
yeah. Textbook season's crazy. This is my first year without textbook seasons.
Oh no.
I sold my book business. So
I
always look forward to August and January for my bank account to go way up, and now I try to make up for it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I mean, Victor and I and everyone doing online book arbitrage, definitely two, crazy opportunities. And now this was technically my 9th August textbook season, which is kind of crazy to think about it. So I'll be a decade next year.
Is everyone getting stronger than the last in terms of just, I feel like you're getting smarter and adding more inventory, or have you kind of had some peaks and valleys if you stacked up all your Augusts in a row?
I would say the first 3 or 4 was when I didn't really have much money. I was a college student. I was basically taking all the profit and paying the debt. This is my student debt. I wasn't really like growing inventory. I think I was selling like on the low end 20,000 a year to like maybe up to 40,000, and basically it was enough to just cash flow college. And then once I started teaching, I was able to earn some more income. Then I was able to siphon some of that off and put it into the book business. And so, I would say the last 4 years have been the biggest for me. I would say what I've gotten better at is spending less time getting the same results. So right now, I think the last 3 years, the last 2 years, I've done like 300K in revenue, made about 100,000 in profit. And this year I'm like, I think 3 percentage points higher at this point in time as I was last year. So what I've learned is just to do things more efficiently. So spend less time, make around the same. And then, as you know, my focus is also kind of shifted towards, content and, growing book mind and stuff like that. So
awesome.
But yeah, let's see. We got Lori saying y'all are awesome. Hopefully Lori is there. She may be there. I don't know. I don't know everyone who's going off the top of my head, but hopefully Lori will be able to make it. Christian says even rare books are good flips. I've done Italian cookbooks from the 80s. Yeah, you'd be surprised. There's some books out there that you look at and you're like, this has got to be worth money, and it's not. And then you look at some books and you're like, there's no way this is worth anything.
Yeah, it keeps you
worth money.
Yes, and keeps you humble.
Yeah, it does, absolutely. Yeah. So let's see.
We got Caleb here. I've been thinking about this more lately. What has been like the most fun book haul for you? Because one thing I kind of attributed to you teaching me books, and what I realized is like it's not just thrift stores, it's not just libraries. Like you were always thinking like the next thing. Like you made your own website for libraries to like scan books, and it basically said which books were good and which weren't. You were doing consignment with libraries. Me and you like went to colleges that were closing down, libraries closing down. I feel like we did like a lot of out of the box strategies, and then like I met people at your events, Turn the Page events back in the day, and like my brain couldn't grasp that somebody was doing like 300,000 a month in sales. It's like a one-man show, you know. And like for me, that's really what got me excited. And that girl from MIT, she was doing textbook arbitrage with no software. So what do you think has been like the most fun places for you to find books? And maybe just talk a little bit about those, because I think some people are just stuck in the rut of thrift store.
Yeah, good question. I think, I mean, you just kind of find them in the unexpected places, and it's usually a stone that you turn over and you meet somebody random that happens to they're a college professor and they're just getting rid of their collection. So it's just kind of those moments, and they're like, hey, I don't really want them, or hey, if you make any money, give some to charity, or like whatever. Like you just kind of run into some of those situations and you're like, wow, I'm glad I was in the right place at the right time. Probably the best feeling I've ever had selling books was when I got the consignment business set up. I had my brands, it was empty shelves. I had a logo on a box, but even before I had all that,
I used to say every morning I'd wake up to a box on my front porch.
Not every morning, but I still distinctly remember that first morning when I had I think it was 2 boxes showed up on my front porch, because I used to go to the library and get them. And then I moved to Denver and I started trying to kind of scale the program and get more than one client.
You woke up with
the first time like seeing an empty shelves box on my front porch going, man, every box that shows up is $100 for me and $100 for the client typically.
Yeah.
And I just was like, I didn't have to go get these books. Yes, I landed the account. Yes, I built the software. Yes, there's a lot of pre-work that went into it, but it was like, I didn't go source these books. They just showed up at my front door, and all I got to do is get them listed, and it's going to turn into money. And it was like this unlock of, I figured it out. And there's still lots of other hurdles and whatnot, but that was one of the greatest feelings, is going, I figured out how to get books to come to me.
Yeah.
And the good books that I already want.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing that I think that I think probably all of us could do, but I would say, again, Caleb having incredible business acumen. If you do go to Books and Beyond, I would basically explain to Caleb, and obviously not talk his ear off and literally give your whole life story, but essentially just say, hey, this is what I'm doing with books. This is what's been successful. Maybe this is what I'm struggling with. And I would literally just ask him, hey, how if you were in my shoes, how would you do this differently? Or how would you try to scale this? Or how would you try to, find more opportunity? Because I really think that, Caleb does a great job of kind of having that perspective of like, again, looking at your numbers, but, kind of zooming out and realizing like, okay, so this is what's working. This what is not working, but these are some things or some steps you can take that probably could help you be more successful. I think that's something that Caleb would be great at.
Yeah, I love that stuff. I love kind of playing the what if game and trying to help get some clarity around what you're doing and where you're having some success and where we can kind of hone in and, find that blend of what, where the market opportunities are plus what your skill sets are. And I love that strategic puzzle of trying to figure it out. And that's, again, I'm going to talk on stage. There's going to be a lot of downtime off stage and talking to speakers kind of backstage or, at the after parties and everything else. Those are really what the value is going to be.
Lori says she's going to try to make it there. I hope to see you there. It'd be awesome. Christian says the hardest things are to keep track of items and rolling money back into the business. What does Caleb do with inventory control? Yeah, so good question. I think so many people, right? They like one of the biggest challenges is like, what do I do with the profit I make? Do I put it all back into the business? Do I take some for myself? And so when you were, I guess in your business at those higher numbers, what was your sort of, I guess how would you allocate that money?
Just depends on where you are in the business. I think I started the business with, $500-600 when I first got started. And, at that point you can pretty much only buy books that are cheap or free or kind of, have more time. You have more time than money. So you're trying to build the business that way.
Yeah.
So in terms of control, you got to know your numbers. That's a piece of it. And then you got to make sure you're weeding out old inventory so you're not getting hammered with fees. And really it's just having that awareness on where your business is at and what's going on.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I answered the question, but inventory control had a lot of spreadsheets to track things. Some of those are still available. Thebookflipper.com/track. Shameless plug. That's part of the business I didn't sell. So it's a full accounting program. Helps you have understanding of what your numbers are for your sources and if you're making money. And then when you look at your income statement and your cash flow, if you make money off the table, but the longer you can delay and keep rolling it back into the business, to some point, it's better off.
Yeah, let me see. I was just gonna go ahead and share that if anyone's interested. This is the link to that as well. Manage your entire Amazon operation with a single spreadsheet. So I know that a lot of people have used this. I personally have never used it, but I've heard.
We had I think we had a couple thousand people buy it over the years. It's pretty wild that one spreadsheet would have paid for college.
Yeah,
and it is a little bit technical, but you need 2 reports, one from your listing software, GoToLister, can easily pull it in. All the listing tools can do it. And then you need a sales report, and that's it. So you can dump those in, and you can, the more sophisticated you get and track your sources, the better you're going to be. But just understanding where you're at and which sources are making the most money lets you keep going back to those.
Yep. Lori says, is there a workaround for publishers that was previously ungated on? And since Amazon changed the requirements to have 100 or more items, I think Avery, you might know more about this because I think Scholastic was recently gated about, I don't know, maybe a few weeks ago or months ago. I don't really
require 100, but it's the same thing. Go to christianbook.com, buy whatever they say, and then upload that invoice. Yeah.
Avery, where are you? There's no palm trees in Tennessee.
Vegas. Jameson's wedding. Yeah. Stephen Reezy might come over. I thought they were gonna. Reezy's actually not here for the wedding. He's here for the Alibaba event, which I went to. I met Brandon Young, which is funny because I DM'd him this morning for private label help. Didn't know he was at the event. Walked in the event. He's the only person I talked to, and then I left.
That's crazy.
So Reezy got me a ticket to that. I didn't come to Vegas for that though, but we're just out here chilling.
Yeah, that's great. Let's see.
I think Caleb said he's got a headache though, so he wants to head on out. I don't know if you saw that message.
Oh no, I didn't. Okay, sorry about that. No, sorry, I didn't see it. No, all good, man. But yeah, anyways, Caleb will be there at Books and Beyond. Thanks for being on, and anyone who comes will see him live in person.
Yeah,
looking forward to it.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, man. Thanks, Caleb.
All right, see you
guys.
All right. There you go. All right, guys. So again, if anyone is, I'll go ahead and share my screen just one more time. So Books and Beyond, again, coming up October 10th through 12th in Las Vegas, Nevada. So you guys can grab your tickets if you're interested in being there. Again, it's just a ton of fun. You get to meet a lot of people, and yeah, just excited for the event. So I'll stick around for a little bit longer if anyone has any questions about kind of the event. But essentially, the way that it works is day 1 and day 2. It's going to be a list of speakers. So we're going to have, basically each day about 10 speakers, and these are going to be booksellers from anywhere from, online book arbitrage, bulk booksellers, people who do, whatnot bookselling, thrifting. So a bunch of different types of book selling, which is going to be awesome. And then in the afternoons, the cool part is we're going to have panels, and those panels are essentially going to be kind of like workshops where you get to kind of hang out with your crew. So everyone coming to this event is going to be a different type of bookseller. So, probably the online book arbitrage people are going to be more interested in that. The bulk booksellers can be more interested in that. So there will be sort of multiple opportunities in the afternoon, after the speakers have talked, for you to actually get to mingle and talk to people in a more structured way, which is great. And then also there are 2 after parties. So on Saturday night, there's going to be an after party at the Binion's Pool Deck, which is basically on top of where the conference is at. And there's going to be like an amazing 360-degree view of Las Vegas, which is awesome. And yeah, so that's gonna be fun. And then Sunday will also be another after party, and those are just times for you to be able to have a more intimate talk with the other booksellers that are there. It's going to be also a little bit more private, just because of the fact that not everyone who's going to Books and Beyond will be at the after parties. And some people do ask, by the way, like, hey, are these after parties crazy? Like, is everyone going to be drinking? No, this is like, you get like 1 or 2 drinks at these parties or at this after party, and it's really just called an after party. It should really be called like it should be after conference networking event is what it should really be called. Maybe we'll change that next year. But Christian says, could we ask for a yearly subscription to BookMine? We definitely have talked about it, and yeah, we're still working on it. That could be a possibility, but we see Real Clippy says, "Thanks, gentlemen. See you all in a few weeks." So yeah, we'll see Brian there. We'll see you there, Brian, in Las Vegas. Will says, "Hi, mates. Greetings from Sydney. Could you recommend an app to check book sales and prices that works well in the Australian marketplace?" That's a good question. Australian marketplace. I don't know. I would start with both Scoutly and Scout IQ. Those are the two main sourcing apps here in the United States. I would definitely check with those first. Yeah. You could always also use Keepa. Keepa is gonna be on any Amazon marketplace as well. So Keepa isn't necessarily a sourcing app for like if you're doing thrift stores and library sales, but definitely it's the best way to check prices and historical data on books if you're like wanting to do a little bit more research. So I would say Keepa, but again, it depends. Well, like what it is that you're trying to do with sourcing. Like you're trying to do online book arbitrage, you're trying to do thrifting, all that stuff. Duck Man says, "Thanks, you're welcome." Go see The Wizard of Oz at the Sphere. Absolutely. Yeah, go for the UK market. It's interesting to see if you can do something to book mine in the US. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the Books and Beyond website here again in the chat if anyone's interested in going. But again, it's just gonna be a good time. And if you're somebody who's looking to scale your business, you're wanting to build connections with people, if you want to meet me or Victor or Avery or Caleb or Steve or anyone that's in the space, it's just a good time to talk. So anyways, I guess that's it for us today. But I do have a couple more live streams lined up with other booksellers as well who are going to be at the event. So stay tuned for that. We'll probably have maybe one. I think we're going to have one or two next week, and then as we get close to the event, we're just going to bring kind of more of the speakers on just so that you can hear more about a little bit more about the story, just have a general idea of who's coming, and again, it's going to be a good time. So hopefully everyone's doing well. Hopefully if you are selling books, which you probably are, I mean, I don't understand there's no reason why you would be here if you weren't, but hopefully textbook season went well for you. Definitely went well for me. And I'm sure a lot of people at Books and Beyond are going to be really pumped up and excited because because August textbook season, even going into September, is just awesome. So I know Lori said that she's going to be there. So Lori, I'm excited to hang out and talk and see how we can help your business. But that's all I got. So thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you in Vegas, hopefully. So, all right, guys, take it easy. Bye-bye.